without a shadow of a doubt that you're created on purpose for a purpose. Mindset and money revolution. You have to have a mindset revolution to experience a money revolution. That's when you experience a true wealth revolution.
My name is Chad Free. Welcome to the Wealth Revolution Podcast.
Welcome back to the Wealth Revolution Podcast. My name is Chad Free. I'm so glad to be here with you. I really hope that you've enjoyed our past episodes, and we really like talking about mindset and money. And, now that we're talking about it, guess what I got? I got my book, The Mindset and Money Revolution. So it has been launched. It is available to you on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles, but an easier way to remember is just go to chadfree.com and we've got the link there. Chadfree.com, and you can get my book, The Mindset and Money Revolution. And that's what we talk about on this podcast: mindset and money and how to build true wealth. Because I believe true wealth is an abundance of everything that you value. And true wealth is built from the inside out. And today, I'm going to talk to you about what that looks like. I want to talk to you about the power of purpose. And I want to tell you why it means so much to me. 3 years ago, about this time, actually, I was still the financial guy. I was the author of Wake Up Your Retirement back in 2017. Everybody knew me as the financial dude. But the financial dude was broke. Not just financially, but his spirit was broke. And that's when I had my own revolution. As a matter of fact, I call it a divine disruption. And, I'm sure that many of you may have heard my story. I'm not going to go into it a whole lot because I do want to talk about the power of purpose. But in a nutshell, I had been a serial entrepreneur, a very ambitious and driven person who hustled his way to where he was, climbed a lot of ladders, but realizing those ladders were against the wrong building. I had started businesses, I've grown businesses, I had been a part of businesses and optimized them, but always at the top of that ladder, I would say something just wasn't right. There was some kind of something that was an unfulfilling filling, if you will. And I was just thinking, man, I feel like I've got all the qualities. I'm putting in the hard work. I hustle. I feel like I do all the right things, right? I've got the right people in my life, I thought. But I just couldn't get ahead. And many times I just asked myself, what am I missing? And my coach, Coach Burt, he says, sometimes we can't see the picture when we're stuck inside the frame. And so that is another big thing that I like to talk about is people need to wake up. You need to wake up and take inventory of what you're doing in your life. And we're going to talk about how you can do that today. So let's go back 3 years ago. It's very sensitive and emotional time. It's sensitive when I talk about it sometimes because it was probably the lowest point in my life. See, I'm established, got a beautiful wife, been married for 20 years now, have 2 incredible boys, Clayton and Jackson. They are literally my heart. They're my everything. And I was surviving back then. And literally I'd gotten to the point where I began to struggle. And this was when COVID happened. And the way I describe it is like I was holding the boat above my head and I'm treading water. I'm not only treading water and keeping the boat afloat, I'm stabilizing it. I don't want them to feel the waves of the troubles that I was feeling. It was all on my shoulders. You see, I had just taken a huge position, which I thought that God had opened the door for, and I believe he did. Maybe not for the reason that I felt like he was, but I always felt like I was a level 10 person, but somehow got stuck with a a level 4 opportunity. I just never found myself to be in the right opportunity and with potential and the right vehicle to get me where I wanted to go. And so I worked with advisors across the country and ended up putting together some very, very high profile plans and financial models that that these folks for these folks who had as clients. So you've heard me say a couple of times, NFL team football owners, some very C-suite executives. How could this be a bad opportunity? Because I'm going to earn a little bit of share off of whatever they do, whatever they sell. So I literally turned my back on my personal business and went all in on this opportunity. And so doing that, I ended up um, getting put on a draw. If you don't know what a draw is, that's just a small stipend, I guess you could say, just a small um, pay or an allowance until the big commissions start paying out. And then that would be drawn from your commissions. So the draw, that pay was so small that I could we couldn't keep up our lifestyle. So because I went all in and I believed in this opportunity, man, I can't lose. This is the door that got open, right? And we're talking 6-figure cases that's being closed, and it just couldn't be better. This is it. This is the opportunity. So I went all in. I believed that, but reality was still here. See, it looked really good over there. Right across the street, it was an abundant blessing that I was going to be walking into. But from here to there, I felt like there were alligators and all kind of snakes, anything. How can I get over there? I just got to survive to get to there. So I had to take out 2 personal loans just to get me by. And still, it's like this process took so long for these commissions to start paying out. And so every night I found myself, man, I wish one case would just pay out. If I could get $5,000, by this time I was describing the commissions at the light at the end of the tunnel. So those commissions had gotten up to about 6 figures, $110,000 that were going to be paying out to me, my part. So that's worth holding on to. It was my source that kept me going. And so, but it didn't change the current reality that I was in. So I went to bed feeling like a transfer truck was on my chest, and worried sick, because guess what? I needed to pay some of these loans back. The next morning I'd wake up, and you got about 5 to 7 seconds before you even know who you are and where you are for some people. And then it would hit me again. Oh God, it wasn't a bad dream. It's life. It's my life. And I started thinking, how long can I let this bill go without paying it before I start getting calls? How long would it take before this utility would get turned off? And I had to do what I had to do. I was surviving until this started paying out. Well, all of a sudden there was some things that started happening, and conviction had really hit me about my working relationship with the folks there. And I tried to suppress that conviction for a while because I felt like this was my opportunity, right? And this was the door that God had opened for me, and I didn't want to rock the boat. But the conviction got overwhelming, and I brought my concerns to the owner of the company, and let's just fast forward. The next morning, I just asked, could I rework the dynamic of the relationship with some of the people that I was working with? And I was told, yeah, we can do that. We'll figure something out. Well, he figured something out. The next morning, I started getting texts from everybody at the home office in Florida, and they were saying, Chad, where are you going? We love you here. Why did you resign? And I'm going to say it again. Why did you resign? You see, I love people, and I built good relationships with those folks. And they were shocked to know that I was resigned. They were as shocked as I was when I started seeing those texts. But then as reality started sinking in, I realized what this meant. And slowly but surely it sank into me that the light at the end of the tunnel that had been my source to keep going just went completely out. It went completely out. And all of those commissions that were due to be paid out to me, they went away. The contracts were not written in my favor, obviously. They're a giant. I'm not. I'm one person. And I didn't have no money to fight it. So what do? I'm literally broken. I am the most scared that I've ever been in my life. I just think about that. If I'm going to bed already worried sick, but remember, I had that hope of the bright light at the end of the tunnel, which everything was going to be okay. That kept me going. But now I have nothing to keep me going. And the very thing that was giving me energy to keep going completely was unplugged. So I walked upstairs and I literally lost it. I went into my closet. I shut the door. Nobody was home at the time. And I completely lost it. I cried my eyes out. I yelled. I begged God for help. Never been more scared in my life. See, I come from a great family. Just always had it together until now. But that same guy that I was talking about that always had it together would also say that I depended on God. The whole time I would tell you, yeah, I depended on God. But let me tell you something. The truth of the matter is that I didn't know what it was like to depend on God until I had to depend on God. And from that is the start of my story, because that's where the divine disruption happened. That's where this movement of wealth revolution happened. That's what this book is all about right here. The mindset and money revolution. Because let me tell you what happened. When I was on the floor in a fetal position, mind you, scared to death, grown man, crying his eyes out, begging God to help me and show me my next step. I even imagined myself crawling up into God's lap, a grown man crawling into God's lap, because I just wanted my Father to hold me and give me a sense of security that I needed more than anything. And as I got myself together, or started getting myself together, and started to just be still, I heard him say, I created you on purpose for a purpose. I knew this was coming from him because it wasn't necessarily audible, but the last thing I was thinking about was those words, purpose or anything like that. And somehow it just kind of started, I don't know, taking root inside of me. And then as I just sat there, I was begging, I'll keep talking to me, Lord. What else you got? You know, I need you, because I got some little sense of comfort. But what does that mean? What does that mean exactly? And so as I sat there, the only way I can describe it is like he sat me down in a chair and showed me a slideshow of my life. And here's what that slideshow looked like. You see, my dad had a house paid for when he was 35 years old. I remember we built that house and we moved in, and he paid for it in cash. He ended up retiring in his late 40s from the car business. My whole family was in the car business, and he retired from the car business in his late 40s. And so, see, what happened was God was showing me that I'd been living my life to be like my dad. And because I was not hitting the markers in my life that he had hit in his life, I'm running around like a failure. I am living my life panicking. That's why I'm so consumed with, is this deal going to come through? Is that deal going to come through? What's next for me? I was consumed with being successful like my dad because that's how I define success. You see, my dad didn't put that on me, but I wanted to be just like my dad. And I heard God say in a nonchalant way that I can't bless who you're trying to be, but I want to bless who I created you to be. And let me tell you right now, it was not like the shackles came off of my wrist. It came out of my pores. I was free. I was literally free. It was like waves and water of peace just washed through me like I'd never experienced before ever in my life. And I got off of that floor. And listen, my bank account was still broke, but my spirit was overflowing. Because here's the deal. For the one time in my life, I saw this lane almost like a track, like I'm running my race. And here's the truth of the matter is, I'm not in a race against anybody. I have my own race to run, and you have your own race to run. You see, you can't compare your chapter 2 with somebody else's chapter 10. And I'll tell you something else too. Nobody is better than you. They may be further along than you, but that doesn't mean that they're better than you. So I want to dig in just a little bit about purpose. Because purpose, now that I have a foundation of purpose, that comes from my spirit. So no matter what, if I get knocked down, my purpose is greater. It's greater than my emotions. I get right back up because I know God created me on purpose for a purpose. So let's talk about purpose just real quick. I did a deep dive into purpose and I wrote down some notes. What is purpose? In the dictionary, it says the reason for which something exists or is done, made, or used. All right, now follow me here. I think there's a lot of times that purpose gets misconstrued. And my goal is for you to walk away and you have just a new take on your life. Control, Alt, Delete, complete restart on your life right here. Another definition is an intended or desired result, determination or resoluteness. Now, I'm going to read a verse for you. And these verses didn't make sense until I started going through these trials. Proverbs 19:21 says this: many are the plans in a person's heart, but God's purpose will prevail. Understand what I just said. You see, we can't like the t-shirt verses and not like other verses. The Bible is God's word, and it is truth. And man has many plans, but God's purpose will prevail. I was living my entire life with Chad's plans. And I tell you what, I was living 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and I was missing the blessings that were right in front of me, right around me. See, I'm throwing the football or the baseball with Clayton and Jackson, and I'm thinking about the deal tomorrow, hoping it works out, envisioning if this partnership comes through, if that partnership comes through. I was not present. I was present physically, but I was not present. So if we know that man has many plans, we can all raise our hand to that because we all have plans, and plans are not bad. But when we make plans and then hope God put his stamp of approval on it, then chances are we're asking for God's purpose to prevail. And sometimes that has to be wiped out. So why not get in line with what God wants to do with you in the start of it? You see, he's already purposed and designed you. We are the most highest royalty on earth right now. but we choose to live like a peasant. You see, we have 4 parts of our nature, and this is where I want you to understand. God's already given us the answers. We're just asking the wrong questions. We have 4 parts of our nature. We have our mind, our heart, our body, and our spirit. And most of us operate from our body and our mind. Knowledge and skill. Knowledge and skill. Knowledge in the mind. Skill with the body. And those are talents. How can I get better on this script or that script or whatever? How can what's my approach need to look like? It's all up here. Sports, that's talent. But when you when you discover what God's gift is inside of you, that comes from your purpose and the design that He's given you. See, that's your foundation. When you pursue your purpose, and it's here in the book, it's here right here in the book. When you pursue your purpose, that is truly saying, God, I want to be who you created me to be. Purpose is not a destination or a spot in an occupation. People get to saying, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I think I should be a teacher. I think I should be a counselor. You know, they associate it with an occupation. That's not it. Purpose is a destination. I mean, it's not a destination. It's a journey. It's a direction. It's one day after the other day, taking steps. God, use me how you want to use me. Because purpose is to be Christ-like. And when you make a decision to pursue your purpose, you are now saying, God, my identity is in you. That's when He realizes, okay, now they're ready. And He'll unlock the potential that He's given you, that's inside of you. 87% of people never discover their purpose. They never discover their gift. Their gift from God is not learned, earned, or even deserved. But once you say, okay, God, I'm yours, I want to be who you want me to be, that's when He reveals that gift to you to unlock your potential. Then you become very present. You're aware. You want to be the best that you can be. See, instead of chasing success and the end game, the end result, you're pursuing excellence because you can control that. All you got to do and all you're called to do is be your best self. Be the best person that you can be. That's excellence. And when you start doing that, they start stacking on top of each other. When you become present, now you're your authentic self. You are who God created you to be. And guess what? People are attracted to that. You stop having to chase, and you start attracting. You start connecting with people because people don't like dealing with people who are fake. They want to connect with real people. And then you start profiting internally and externally. And all of that leads to peace. But we want to have peace right away, but we want to jump all these other things. So without purpose, we become human doings, like Tim Story says, instead of human beings. We become just somebody chasing our tail. And so I want to challenge you to look down deep inside of yourself and ask yourself, are you doing what you are called to do? See, if our purpose is to point people to Him as Christians, we can do that right where we are. We are fully equipped. Our experiences, our past, everything happened for a reason, to be able to help somebody else. We had to go through all of that to be who we are right now. So guess what? Now that I operate from my spirit and God is my source, because I'm created on purpose for a purpose. See, I have that belief. That feeds the desire in my heart to be the best that I can be. That makes me want to learn knowledge and be the best, continue to learn, continue to learn, continue to learn. And I get better and better and better at it because I do it all the time. You can't shut me up because I'm operating from purpose. So just because you're doing something because you're good at might not be a reason for you to be doing it. Is it coming from your spirit? See, when money was bad, I was bad. I was in the gully. When money was good, I'd get high. I'd live up. I'd have a big high, right? I didn't get high, but I would live up here. I was an emotional roller coaster. And I'm telling you, you don't have to do that. When you operate from purpose, that creates a confidence that can only come from the King. And I'm telling you, you were created in God's image. And it's up to you to pursue that. It's up to you to make a choice. But your belief is, you have to have the belief that you're created on purpose for a purpose. If you believe that, then you must have the desire. So you can believe whatever you want and not have the desire to move in that direction. You can't be helped. You cannot be helped. But if you have the belief and you have the desire, then you get around the right people and you can have faith to execute on that. And I promise you, God will align the right people. You might feel like you're the right person. You might have the right plan. But then at that point in time, you must have the right partners. You must have the right people in your life. Just because they're in your circle, guys, doesn't mean that they are in your corner. And if you don't want to kick them off the bus, guess what? They don't need to be in the front seat right behind you telling you, hey, go left here. You know we always go left when God's calling you to go right. If you don't want to kick them off the bus, tell them they got to sit in the back of the bus. Tell them, hey, also, there's no talking on this seat right here. You have the right. It's your bus. So, guys, I challenge you. Go to my website, chadfree.com. Chadfree.com. It's got my story. It's got everything about my divine disruption in this book. I put my blood, sweat, and tears literally in this book. And, while I do talk about financial stuff, and a lot of people want me to talk about that, the most rewarding thing is that internal profit. And when you live from confidence and purpose, I promise you, your external profit will follow that. Just be who God created you to be. So thank you for joining this episode. I pray, it is my prayer that you got something out of it, that it touched your soul. And do some serious, sometimes we don't know what our purpose is because we never ask. We're so busy surviving that we don't know what it's like to thrive. You just got to ask, God, who did you create me to be? Hopefully you got something from this. Be sure to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me or my team if we can help you in any way. We certainly want to do that. But again, go get a copy of this book, chadfree.com. It's called The Mindset and Money Revolution. And I pray that your life can be changed for that. Until next time, see you later.